Alright, real quick, before we get into talking about Knights against Blackmoor, the game in the title of this video, I'm going to talk about why I decided to make this video. So last month on October the 1st, which is the day Halo Waste 2 released, I decided to look up a developer commentary video for Halo Waste 1, just to see what I thought about it. You see, those videos are made to give the person watching them my thought process, including myself, I guess, if I go back and rewatch them. But that video didn't exist. I never did one. It's one of the only games I never did one on. So I booted up Halo Waste 1 and decided to record one that day. And I did. It's up on the channel. You can find it. And me making that developer commentary video kind of shattered what I thought about Halo Waste 1. I thought it's one of the better games I've made, when in fact, it's one of the worst. I don't think it's the absolute worst, but it's one of the worst ones. And then I was like, I wonder how games I thought were terrible right after I finished the development on them actually are. So I went and played Greeds in the Waste, which is my least favorite game I've made thus far. And it's not the worst one. I thought it was, but no, it's not. I genuinely now think it's better than Halo Waste 1. I don't even think it's the third worst game I've ever made. And that was weird, to say the least. And then a week ago, I played through Knights against Blackmoor, and my opinion on that game is bonkers. If you went back in time and told me what my current opinion of Knights against Blackmoor is, I wouldn't believe you. I am now under the impression that Knights against Blackmoor is the best 4Fats fan game I've ever made, which is a weird opinion to have, but whatever. So the reason why I think I always thought of Knights against Blackmoor as the worst one in the series is because of the development process. I've had this bad thing where I link the development process of a game with the actual quality of the game. Like Rise 1 is my favorite game I've ever developed, and the development process of that game was really fun and really smooth, but the game is terrible. That is the only game where I'm capable of, disconnecting the development process and the actual quality of the game, or at least up until now it was. Because since the development process was good, I only have fond memories of the game, even though the game is horse feces. And, every game I made after Halo Waste 1 kind of had a bad development cycle, plagued with laziness and procrastination, etc., and just overall problems and stuff. But that doesn't change what product was produced afterward. The amount of effort you put into a project, the amount of time it took to make that project, that doesn't change what the product is. That doesn't change at all what the final product is. It doesn't matter that I put more effort into something like Rise 1 than I did Knights against Blackmoor. Knights against Blackmoor is the better game at the end of the day. It doesn't matter that I put more time into something like FTW than I did Halo Waste 2. Halo Waste 2 is the better game at the end of the day. It doesn't matter that I put more effort into Rise 2 than Halo Waste 2. Halo Waste 2 is the better game at the end of the day, etc., etc., etc. The amount of effort and how smoothly the process goes does not change the final product in any way. It only changes your memories of the game itself. Rise 1 is the only one where I can disconnect the quality of the game from the development process. Great development, really fun making, I had a lot of fun making the game. The final product is garbage. Pretty much every game following that, those two concepts are linked. I thought Halo Waste 1 was good when it was in fact quite bad simply because I had fun making it. I thought Greeds in the Waste was bad simply because the development process was stretched out and a lot of bad stuff happened during it. By bad stuff, I mean drama within the community and stuff like that. But that doesn't change that the final product is better than Halo Waste 1, at least to me. Knights is a similar story, where I stretched out the development period, and the final product is something I would consider better than Rise 1, something I would consider better than Rise 2. And I'll get into why now. Quite simply, Knights against Blackmoor is a satisfying game to play. The combat has a lot of weight to it. Hitting enemies back feels good. Movement feels good in Knights, at least if you play as Thomas. And I guess Nameless is fine as well. Gregor's too slow, but whatever. Movement in Knights feels good. Combat in Knights feels good. Platforming in Knights is fine, etc. Other than the bugs in Knights, which, yeah, it has those, Knights is easily the most fun one to play. It's not as repetitive as something like Rise 2, and it's not as broken as something like Rise 1. Other than the 4th level being untextured, beginning to end, as close to beginning as and end you can get to an uncompleted game, Knights is pretty good, for my standards at least. I think it's the best FF game I've made by a wide margin. It's the only one that I still think is satisfying without delving into monotony after a while. And why am I making this video, other than just to say that I think I was too harsh on this game? I'm in the current process of trying to make a game like Knights again. Now, I haven't decided between if I'm going to make this a new game or straight up remake Knights. I haven't decided yet. If I do go with the route of making a new game, it's going to be called Demon Dudes, and Lotus will be the main character, because I feel sad for the guy. He's been my channel, he was my channel mascot for over a year, and he's never been in a game before. So, yeah. But whatever. If I go down the direction of making Knights, or if I go down the direction of making a new game called Demon Dudes, either way, a game that plays like Knights but is more polished is going to happen. Probably. I'd imagine you guys will see the first level of that game by the end of this year, a video of that, and you'll know which of those two options I chose.